this the most auspicious of reviews? This is review number 666. Yes. Come closer now. Gather round the fire with me, and I will regale you with a story as we review the Beast, the Transformers Dinobot Beast in a way. Because today we will look at the fully combined mode of the KO Power of the Primes Dinobot Volcanicus here in the latest GotBot True Review. Oh, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, let's get that out of the way, your humble host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course subscribe, and while you're at it, that's right, for whom the bell tolls, as they say, it tolls for me and for you, so that you can get notifications every time that something new goes up on the channel, from reviews to stop motions to countdowns to whatever other sort of nonsense we get up to. Speaking of nonsense, Thursday nights, the live show, baby. Join in. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers Collectors NL. Have a look for me everywhere. The Autobot family. All that good stuff, all those links, they're all down in the description. I'm a little thrown off today, man, because you probably noticed by now that we're in episode 666, a very uncomfortable episode. But this is also a bit of a milestone episode, if you will. So, a long time ago I looked at the Power of the Primes Volcanicus. We're going to look at the oversized KO today, and this rounds out my look at the Black Mamba KO Dinobots as well. Currently, this marks the end of my actual collection. This is at one time or another, I have now looked at absolutely everything that I own or used to own. Some of it has gotten sold. Now, fear not, there are things on the way, so we're not at the end of our visits, but it's monumental because in the past, kind of little behind the scenes here, in the past when we have had like a lull in releases or I haven't been buying something, I've always had older things in my collection to lean back on. I don't have that anymore. Anything that you see from this point forward is either going to be new to me, or on loan or some such thing from different friends of the channel, that sort of stuff. So it's a bit monumental. It's also a little bit uncomfortable that this is the number that we're at to kind of conclude my personal collection thus far. Can't wait for some of my other items to get in. Just saying. So, I've rambled on enough. I've given you a little bit of history, a little bit of background. I mentioned that it was the Beast, kind of, because Volcanicus, in a way, is an homage to the Beast, which was a Dinobot combiner in the comics that probably never should have happened, if we're being honest. You'll notice I don't have the Dinobots or Volcanicus in my hands right now because, of course, they're over to the table. They're excited to get going. We're going to look at them in dinosaur mode. We're going to look at them in robot mode. And we're going to look at them in combine mode. So without any further ado, let's head over to the table and take a closer look at this big guy. And here we are with both teams, the Power of the Primes and the Black Mamba oversized KOs. And technically this is going to be our look at the KO of Volcanicus. We have already kind of looked at each of the individual bots. I'm just showing the whole team here in comparison to their Power of the Primes counterparts, so you can see the size differences basically. I looked at Volcanicus in episode 399, and I said then that really Volcanicus was an homage to the Beast. And I said it earlier that really what we're looking at here is an homage to the Beast, though the Beast never should have existed. And it's awfully fitting, man, and awfully creepy that we're doing it for this particular review. So here you can see the entire team. They look good. Both groups look good. If we take the Power of the Primes lads out of it and just have the Black Mamba KOs left, they look like this. And I think that this looks pretty fantastic. It's a bit bigger. They feel more secure. Just a couple of little update things that were pointed out to me as we went through with the review of each of these guys. First things first, with Sludge, I said that his jaw doesn't open. In fact, it does. It's a tight joint. It's an uncomfortably tight joint, but it's there. And at the end of the day, I think that this looks very good. They're a good size, they're a good heft. A couple of things to note before we go on and look at the team in the robot mode. First things first, Sludge. His jaw does open on the KO. It's extremely tight, a little bit scary, but it can do it just like the official. There's actually no pin there. You can see a pin on the official. There's no pin that you can see there, so I don't know if it's held in with friction or if it's a hidden pin, potentially, I don't know. But it does open. With Slug or Slag, if you will, the horns on mine are slightly loose. You can kind of take the head, the upper part of the head sort of apart, and you can like add a couple of dabs of glue, or some people say glue. I wouldn't advise using glue on plastic. Maybe the floor polish on the kind of inside of the upper part of the head. There's options. It does not bother me enough to go through the hassle of fixing it. Swoop, down in the end, it was pointed out during his review that when he's an arm, it seems like the hips are quite loose. They're actually not. I understand why that criticism was voiced, and I think that might be it. We might be able to move on and have a look at these guys in robot mode. And yes, indeed, voila! Here we have, again, both teams in their robot modes. You can see, of course, the KOs are a bit bigger. They don't have the translucent plastic. Also, a couple of things here that I wanted to point out as well. If we refer to Swoop down at the far end, the face of the KO actually has an imperfection on it. One eye is molded correctly, the other eye isn't, and it gives him a bit of a kind of a gimpy look on his face. I'll try and show his face up closer just so you can see what I'm talking about. Do you see what I'm talking about? The eye on this side is correct. The eye on this side, not so much. Furthermore, if we come to Sludge here, and we turn this guy around, I have the head just left down and folded down on his back. That's the way I prefer. However, if we, leaving him there, if we turn the KO around, I've actually turned the head around on the KO, there is a little notch, I suppose, that the head fits in, kind of the lower back, pelvis, butt area. This is correct. It was pointed out to me. Somebody said, hey, I forgot to turn Sludge's head around when I looked at the KO. I didn't forget. I didn't do it because I don't like it. I think that this looks preposterous. I prefer just down straight on his back, but that's me, and that is pure aesthetic choice. Naturally, when it comes to the legs and stuff on these guys, there's different ways to do all of them. Now, because these guys were Prime Masters, or part of the Power of the Primes line with Prime Masters, they were compatible by having those little like Prime Master warts on them where the Prime Masters could attach or stand or whatever you want to call it. Except for the KO of Snarl. On the official Snarl, there are two plates on the back that open out flat. These two. When you open them out flat, there's two little warts, is the only thing I can call them. They're pegs, I guess, that you can stand your like Prime Masters on. Taking him out of it and turning the KO around, with the KO, they're not on backwards or anything like that. They just don't have them on this side. If you fold this in, they don't have it on this side. They're just not there. It's really strange. Snarl is definitely the biggest departure of all of the robots. So this is the whole of both teams, with the exception of one. We'll talk about her in a little bit. Taking these guys out of it, here's what the KO team looks like. And man, do I dig this. I love the look of this. They all feel hefty, good, great, fantastic. Now, to be fair, some people have said, hey, you can mix and match them. I agree, you can mix and match them. You can come up with something like this, for example, which suits the tastes of, to my surprise, a lot of people. Now, to my shock, several fans that I've talked to have said, hey, why not use the oversized Grimlock and the oversized Sludge? That way they're bigger and have the power of the primes for the other ones. I can see the argument for that. Some have had 4 of the members, but not Swoop, and kept the deluxe Swoop, thinking he should be smaller, and I can see the argument for that. Conspicuous by her absence is the newest Dinobot member, Slash. I do have the Legends Slash, and there is a KO that's oversized of her. I do not at the moment have that. It did not come with this set, so we may end up talking about her another time. Nevertheless, this is an idea of an amalgamation that you could do if you want to have some from one and some from the other. Of course, if you do something like this, you have to understand that some of your Dinobots will have the translucent plastic and some of them will not. Now for the main event here. Now we get this guy together as Volcanicus. Now we get both Volcanicuses together to compare. It's time for the birth of the beast. And the lights go out. That can't be a good sign of things to come. And now that I got the lights back on, there's no beast that's too bad for me, baby, when I want to show you guys a KO Combiner. And in this case, of course, it's the KO of the power of the Primes Volcanicus. And it is naturally bigger than Volcanicus. The original Volcanicus, the scores I gave that thing, I said it was a 10 for paint apps because really we have nothing much to compare it to except for the Beast in that comic, that terrible comic that never should have been. 10, I guess, because it's its own thing. Then for the transformation, I said it was a 10. You know what? When we look at the paint apps for the KO, it's still a 10. The transformation, exactly the same method to get in this mode. 10. So we have a 10 for both so far. It just depends on which one you like the size of better. Then we get to the articulation. And the articulation of the actual power of the primes, I said, was about a 6. A little better than average, but it wasn't as good as, say, Superion or Computron or something like that. It was, however, better than, for example, a Combiner Wars Menasor. Although my Menasor is not bad since I've done some fixes on it. But generally, we all know that was kind of hot garbage. The power of the Primes version had fine legs. The legs were fine. Fine waist. The head is okay. But this whole shoulder assembly is not secure on the power of the primes. When you try to rotate the arm forward and back, it comes undone. As well, I've already talked about how the forearm of Swoop likes to come apart when you twist it left or right. So there were weaknesses and issues with it. What about the KO? Well, when it comes to the KO, I would like to say that everything is improved, but it does have its own issues. We'll get to that as we go through. We're going to start from the bottom and kind of work our way up. We have those Power of the Primes feet, and they work fine enough. They peg up securely into the foot. They also have the ankle tilt. It's a strong ankle tilt, and but it's there. I'm going to lift that up. When we get to the, I guess, the knees, we do have a swivel because of the leg of Grimlock. We do have a knee to 90 degrees, if not slightly more than 90 degrees. That's on both sides. He can, getting that arm out of the way, he can kick all the way out to the side, though admittedly the legs of Grimlock, even though they're on a soft ratchet, they're not independently going to be able to hold the leg back. Bringing that down. We can, what else can we do here? We can bring the leg forward again and back. They're not going to want to stay there. You can do them, but you're going to need some support for the legs. Admittedly, it'd be nice, and I levied this same kind of complaint with the Power of the Primes version. It'd be nice if the hips on Grimlock were able to support the weight. Here, because we have some die cast in both of these lower limb dinobots, it's kind of even harder than with the Power of the Primes version, if I'm being perfectly honest. In fact, on closer inspection, I can actually confirm that if you move the legs forward, back, or out to the side on the Power of the Primes version, it will hold. I mean, I wouldn't shake them, but it will hold. The die cast obviously is what makes the difference here. The waist on this guy, it's fine. It's a good waist. Oh, that actually just came out. Look at that. First time that's ever happened with this guy. For me. If I can get this back up and in here now. There. That surprises me. First time that's happened. Because there's a first time for everything. The head, it can go left and right, not really upward. Like you're kind of, to get it to go up or down, you're going to have things coming apart. Pardon the cut, but I had to do a little bit of housekeeping. We're going to deal with the elephant in the room right now, which is the arms. You know that they already go out. I can also confirm that the arms can go, really, all the way around. Which, I mean, it's fine. That's fine. But the whole arm here is supposed to... how can I explain this? The whole arm is supposed to tab in. There's a hole on the back of Grimlock's forearm that's supposed to go over a tab that's behind the shoulder. Mine just sort of, it's suggestive that it's in there, but it's not really, it doesn't hold. Let's put it that way, it doesn't hold. Now, the arms will go around just fine, that's not a big deal. In fact, it can even kind of get a bit of a butterfly, if I'm being honest about it. Not a big deal, but just a little bit unfortunate, I suppose. The arm has a bicep swivel because of the waist of Swoop, or in this case, Snarl. There's an elbow on both. The Swoop stays together much better than the official Power of the Primes. At least my copy of both Swoops is like that. We get a wrist swivel, we get a thumb that moves, and we get fingers that move. So, you know, it is what it is. I for the most part, I dig this. I would say that it's a little bit more of a success than the Power of the Primes, but not by much, because what we gain with the arms, we sort of give up with the legs. And you might say, well, you're not really gaining with the arm because that forearm doesn't tab in. But I'm kind of okay with that because the arms still function just fine. Now, what sort of score do we give him then? He had a 10, a 10. I feel like he's more hefty, solid, and secure. Instead of being a 6, I'm going to bump him up to a 7. Overall, this guy probably gets about an 8 to a 9. I think it's a pretty good combiner if you're going to combine dinosaurs. I wouldn't combine dinosaurs, personally speaking. And the last thing to kind of address before we leave here that a lot of people have wanted to know is how well this guy scales next to Devastator. And there you go, you can see for yourself how well he scales with Devastator. He's a little bit smaller, certainly not nearly as hefty. Bit unfortunate, but it's the way it is, it's all you can do. I don't know, I mean, I guess they could square off. I wouldn't advise it. I like this as a set of dinobots. I've never thought the dinobots should combine. For me, they'll function and work great as a set of dinobots. But that's all they're going to work and function as. And after all the dread at the beginning of this review and the lights going out, adding a little hint of gloom and doom, I'm happy to say that at the end of the day, this is a pretty fantastic set of dinobots. Now, I know he's combined here. I did it because I wanted to show you guys, you know, it's only right it can do it. I don't think that this is a great combiner. I know some people dig it. It's not for me. I don't want my dinobots to combine. I just want them to be cool dinobots. And I was very happy all along with the power of the Primes as my dinobots. But I'm not going to pretend that I'm not impressed at the idea of having these guys, and glad that Starscream Wife thought better to get them, because I don't think I would have necessarily picked them up on my own accord. They're great dinobots. If you like Volcanicus, I guess Divine Volcanicus, a little bit better, even though the legs don't hold the weight quite the same as they did with the Power of the Primes version. This guy feels heftier and more solid and more stable than that one did. Yeah, I don't know. Excellent dinobots, iffy combiner. That's just me. I'd love to hear from you guys. Do you like them as dinobots? Do you like Volcanicus as a concept, as a combiner? Do you too believe that he is an homage to the beast that once existed in the G1 comics? Kind of, how do you see Volcanicus? How does this guy kind of match up with Devastator? Okay, but probably not as good as some people would like. And of course, if you've wondered how he would match up against Titan Predaking, well, you've seen him next to Devastator, and Devastator and Predaking are pretty much the same, man. Pretty much the same. So he would be a little shy, maybe. Anyway, works for me for what I need them for. Let me know what you think about these guys. You know, I love hearing from you guys. I appreciate you dropping by, give me some of your extremely valuable time. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, don't forget that there is a donate link down in the description. Most especially, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because it helps me out so very much. Especially times two. Don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every day you do make a difference, and I look forward to the next time, man, that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams, at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way, man, right here inside the videos.